When we spoke the other day, I was glad to clear up the notion that you're not a Republican or right wing.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's interesting that you say about Adam Carolla, because, yeah, people like to do that. They like to say you are something, you know, that you're not. And stupidly, a couple of times to be provocative. I sometimes will just, for the point of arguing with someone, I'll argue with them and just take, without even knowing anything about the issue. I know I can.
You know how to push their buttons.
Yeah, I know how to push their buttons. So and there was this old bag, Barbara Walters, one time, who everybody pretends is a good journalist, but she's horrible, and she started that whole celebrity shit. But so I was on her show, and she's yapping about something. Anyway, that's where it started, because I just wanted to get under her skin. So I called like President Clinton a murderer or something, just as a joke. And then ever since then, they ask me questions. But no, I'm interested. I find that if you're either a Republican or a Democrat, I think you're both idiots, because you have a whole big, you have to believe in all this stuff, you know, like you have to believe in all their 10 beliefs or all these other 10 beliefs, and I think that's ridiculous. I think you should.
So Norm, do a little Bob Dole for us.
Bob Dole?
Yeah. Would you?
You want me to do it?
Yeah, do it.
It's a kind of an old impression, you know.
It's in the news again.
It is?
Yeah.
Well, I try to work on new impressions, you know what I mean? Like fresh, torn from the headlines of the newspapers, of the journals, of the, you know.
Well, he's in today's headline. You just do a little.
But I got Liddy Dole. I'm working on a new one, Liddy Dole.
Liddy Dole.
Yeah, I do Liddy Dole.
Do Liddy Dole.
Okay. I'm Liddy Dole, running for president. Liddy Dole wants to be president. Doesn't want to work at the blood bank anymore. Wants to be president of the United States. Liddy Dole.
You got my Bob Dole? Yes, that is Bob Dole.
No. Bob Dole says, I'm Bob Dole. This is Liddy Dole.
Liddy Dole says, I'm Liddy Dole.
I'm Liddy Dole.
You were sick, man.
Yeah.
Very good.
And you know how sometimes, like when people are married for a long time, they start to sound like each other? I think that's what happened with Bob and Liddy Dole.
You are really wild. I mean, you're wild in that show, and you're wild in person.
What?
Yeah. Don't you think?
No, I think you're wild.
You take the next question.
You hear us talking about the Friars Club roast and everything, and you know, Joy is the queen of the Friars Club.
I went to that Friars Club once. I never seen a roast or anything like that, Joy, but I went one time. I loved playing poker. I had a bit of a gambling problem for a while, and I couldn't get enough poker games, right? So this dude, he told me, you gotta go to the Friars Club, man. There's a big poker game there, right? I have to talk to 4 people here. So I go to the Friars Club. Barbara, are you listening?
Yeah.
So I'm at the Friars Club, and they tell me there's this big poker game, right? So I go there, and there's all these old dudes there, right? And they're all comics from like 50 years ago, and I don't know who the hell they are, you know? And it's not like famous comics like Milton Berle or anybody like that. It's these B-level comics from 50 years ago, you know? Like Freddie Roman and dudes like that, right? So they're all playing poker, you know? They're all playing poker. And I'm playing poker. I just want to play poker, but they're all like making jokes, you know. And every joke they're making involves me being a gay dude. You know, you know what I mean? Like they'll go, here you go, kid. Here's be like a queen. I get a queen. They go, here's a lady for the lady. And they'd all laugh, you know. And I didn't notice at first. I'm just playing cards, and all of a sudden I realized every joke is me being a homosexual man, right? So I'm not a homosexual man, as you well know. So,
He's definitely not. You're not.
yeah, I'm not. And let me tell you something else. I would have sex with you while you were awake.
You're
show.
It's such a novelty for me. Go ahead.
No, there's no story. It's just, and then I'm playing, and then all of a sudden, this old dude next to me goes, kid, just you gotta show him what you're made of. You insult them too. You know, so I'm like, oh, so there's an old dude. There's like 70 years old. So I go, hey, there, old dude. You probably have had a few guys. I've had sex with a few guys, right? And he goes.
Well, let's get back to the story.
You know what?
Okay, so I guess you don't need a punchline.
No, you don't need a punchline. This is the new comedy, Joy. No punchline. If you think this one is funny, then you have to see the Norm Show. Now, I have to actually write down your character. It's a tax-evading former hockey player sentenced to community service as a social worker.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He just couldn't come up with a guy named Joe. No, it's this person here.
Yeah.
But I'm told, even with this comic timing, you can't remember your lines.
I can't memorize stuff. You know what I mean? I'm not good at memorizing. We only have 1 minute, by the way.
You can read. So what do you do?
He wasn't holding up that finger, so go ahead.
That's a funny one.
What do you do? Well, you weren't listening? What do you do? How do you memorize? How do you do
I can't
it?
memorize things, like, because in each script we get each week, there's like 600-700 words.
Wow.
You know? And you have to say them in order. You know what I mean?
That's really hard.
That ain't easy.
What is it like on the set of that show with you?
What is it like? Well, what do you mean?
What do I mean? Well, because you're so average.
She thinks you're wacky.
Well, I'm just saying it's hard to memorize. We're not walking around the set going, hey, you know.
What do you do?
He's being critical of us.
No, I love this show. This is a great show. No, what I do is I try to, like, sometimes, if you watch the show, sometimes you'll see, like, I'll forget a line.
We have to watch it, too? Not just have you on, we have to watch it,
You have to watch the show,
Okay.
No, but sometimes, geez, this is a long minute. Sometimes, like, if you watch the show, you'll notice, sometimes maybe during the show, there'll be, like, sometimes, like, 20 minutes will pass where nobody will say anything. You know what I mean? Because it was my line. But there's ways to cover. Sometimes I'll just read a newspaper.
You've admitted that you're lazy. I think you've read 6 books in your life.
I've read 6.
6. What kind of a woman would be attracted to you, do you think?
Well, I have a lot of money.
Oh.
There we go. He has a hit show that they just announced yesterday when we all pranced before the advertisers.
I
It's
had
been
Burberry
renewed for
yesterday.
next year's. Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
We did.
remember?
And I have forgiven you for all those takeoffs you did on all of us very serious news people.
Oh, on the Saturday Night
On the
Live
Saturday
program?
Night Live.
You were brilliant.
What?
You were brilliant on that. No, you were.
You really were.
Well, tell us about your garbage collecting day.
Joy's book is great. Did you read it?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you,
That was a
Norm.
very
Thank
funny
you, Norm.
book. I really enjoyed
Joystick.
that.
Say the name of the book.
Enough already.
Joystick.
We're coming back at the last segment. We're talking hot topics, and we're going to be discussing Star Wars. Do you want to stick around and join
And
us?
action
Yeah, that'd be
figures.
great.
You're going to come back. And your minute is up. Okay. Be sure to catch the Norm Show tonight at 9:30 Eastern right here on ABC. Later, Barbara's showing you her eye makeup secrets. But when we come back, find out what you do every day that can really be bad for your health. We'll be right back.
How does Barbara Walters get her picture-perfect peepers? She'll show you later.
Go, girl.
Where was her? All of us sitting here instead of being at home. Anyhow, so unless you've been living under a rock, Star Wars. I do not understand why people stand in line for days and days and days. They can't see the movie in 2 weeks. I mean, they don't have jobs. In any event, so I went to see Star Wars. I have never seen any of the Star Wars, and I felt terrible about it until I learned that
I never saw
seen
it.
it.
Never saw the first
No,
one.
I never saw any of them.
No.
You never saw anything? You never wanted to see Star Wars?
No, I never liked them.
I didn't know you
I don't like those science fiction because my dad always hated them. And you know how you try to be what your dad, you try to be, you know what I mean? And I remember when I was a kid, I watched that Twilight Zone. Remember that show? And oh my God, my dad hated it because it was too fantastical, and he thought I should be doing the chores. And I remember one time, me and my brother were watching Star Wars.
My son was. Have you ever seen Star Wars?
This goes on. That's Norm.
Go ahead. We only have 2 more minutes.
I was just giving you a little backstory. But me and my brother were watching the Twilight Zone, and then my dad walked by, and we were watching, and we were all excited about this Twilight Zone. And then my dad walked by, and he looked at like the screen, and he said, "I suppose this one's a goddamn ghost."
Oh, well, that was funny. Okay. Anyway, we're going to give our quick review. So, I had never seen it. I thought all of the, you know, the mechanical figures and all of that, I thought that was fine, you know, but it was okay. What'd you think?
Well, I tell you, I did love the pod race. That's the best part. There's this race in the middle of it. I'm a big Star Wars fan because
What about Billy D. Williams? I bet you like him.
Race back in the day with the real original Star Wars.
I hear that was better.
Yes, with my man Harrison Ford playing Han Solo. Now that was some Star Wars. Now, I have to tell you a confession, Barbara. I fell asleep for 10 full minutes in this Star Wars.
I
was watching it. What happened?
I did too.
You did?
Yeah, sort of in the middle. And you never go to Star Wars.
No, you know what? I'm not interested in
You know what
Star Wars.
happened?
I'm
You know what
interested-
happened when she fell asleep? Meredith's husband had sex with her.
You weren't supposed to tell. Yes? You might get a little of that if you weren't so busy fondling
what
these
are you
action
doing
figures.
with her?
I mean, what are you talking about? No, well, you know what? There's a psychiatrist, is it from Harvard? I think it is, who's been studying these figures and noticed that their muscles are getting bigger, and boys have body images. They don't talk about it, but they do body image problems. And part of it is because of these action figures. They see these, and they want to look like them when they get bigger.
Have the same problems as girls.
So what are you doing with that poor action figure?
Oh, I'm fighting. I am Tom Glav, and I will beat you.
Did you ever have a body image problem?
Yeah,
or do you
because I'm
now?
really, really thin, so I always wear like lots of clothes because I'm ashamed of my thinness.
No, seriously?
Yeah, look, you can put your whole hand around my wrist. See how tiny it is?
Most boys are built
That's not good
thin.
for a boy.
I mean, if you want to look like this, boys now know that if they want to look like this, they have to take steroids or turn gay. That's how you look like this.
But you're very tall.
I was going to take that.
Doesn't that make up for it?
What?
You're going to take steroids?
Yeah. But then I found out, you know that they shrink your testicles? Did you know that?
I thought that was the fun part.
You know what? If you look at this little action figure, I'm telling you.
Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Too bad.
And I have to say, Norm, that speaking as you just did, you fit right into this panel. And we may just add you every day to our Hot Topics. Norm,
Thank you.